Hello and welcome to Das Nostalgia Podcast, episode 25. As usual, I'm your host, Anatoly, and today I'm doing another solo episode, so it's just gonna be me, and I decided not to reinvent anything from the last time and just give you another set of awesome MS-DOS game tunes. This is mostly gonna be like a quiet, sort of relaxing selection, but there's gonna be a few more actiony tunes in between. So we're gonna start with a game called Budokan the Marshal Spirit from 1989, a game with a really high production values for the time. You know, a 1989 game with 256 color VGA graphics, fairly unusual, and a great soundtrack by the master Rob Hubbard, you know, who's known to sort of make many devices make sounds like nobody thought would be possible. Here, I don't think he goes quite out of his way as much, but just uses the MT32, Roland MT32, to produce this nice sort of soundtrack fitting in theme with the game, but still very unique. It's not just, Japanese stuff. It's very modern. So here it is, MT32 rendition of the Budokan theme by Rob Hubbard. So, when we talk about VGA remakes of Z.A.R games, of their earlier games, VGA updates, people talk about the graphics and the interface usually. Those are the first two things that come up. But, I think the music is one of the biggest additions because these remakes update games that really didn't have any music besides maybe a title tune and maybe a few other, like, short tunes here and there. So, Leisures with Larry VGA is one of my favorite Z.A.R remakes, and its music by Chris Brayman is exceptionally good. And there's a lot to choose from in that game. A lot of it just very comical and sort of like references many other things or incorporates classical music or just known pieces. But I like this tune called Prelude to an Afternoon of Fawn. which is the music that plays in the background in a disco. So here it is. Okay, now it's time for more actiony stuff. There's this game by Team 17, a kind of a forgotten game in a way, called Body Blows, which is a fighting game, sort of like a poor man's Street Fighter, I would say. There's a different reissue called Ultimate Body Blows, but that has a CD soundtrack. But the original game has a pretty cool AdLib soundtrack by Allister, Brimble, and Denny Burke. It's all very cool and very actiony and very Allister Brimble-like. So I picked the theme tune to represent the game. So here it is, the theme from Body Blows. Next on my list is a fairly known game, Cannon Fodder, and you probably know that there's barely any music in this game, so it's either going to be one or the other. Well, the DOS port, I forget made by which company, the name escapes me, but they decided to get rid of the mod music, the tracker music from the Amiga original, and converted the tunes to AdLib and MT32. Now, the sort of once you take away the lyrics out of the Cannon Fodder theme, it becomes a lot less effective. Once you don't have the "War Has Never Been So Much Fun." So I decided to stick to the what's known as the recruitment theme, the theme that plays in between the levels, with the side of the hill with all the little gravestones and stuff. It's actually called Narcissus, and it's a original song by Hare, which he wrote like 10 years prior to the game. And later, him and another composer, Richard Joseph, reused it. Very fittingly, I might add. It's a great tune. So, AdLib version of it is not so great, so I'm gonna stick to the MT32 rendition, which I think is rather good. So here it is. Narcissus by Hare and Richard Joseph. Alright, so next up is a bit of a tracker music by Andrew Sega, also known as Necros, from the game Crusader. It's a menu theme. It was a sort of a tough choice for me. I like the first level music as well. It's very dancey, but I really do like that menu theme, which is actually called Time Traveler. So here it is, Time Traveler by Andrew Sega. Okay, as I have noted in one of my recent videos, Tetris Classic is probably my favorite version of Tetris. So it actually has really good production value with the Ruslan and Ludmila VGA backgrounds and all that stuff. You know, it doesn't push the Soviet theme as many Tetris versions do. It sort of sticks to sort of ancient Russian theme. So what I really like about it, one of the pieces of music I like from this game is the music that plays during the high score table. It's composed by Paul Mogg, and it's really relaxing. Here it is. Of course, once a year game would not be enough for this episode, and there's actually two more that I decided to include, and this one is a big one. I try to stay away from famous stuff, but this one I didn't include it in the last episode, and I felt that maybe I should. It was a toss-up between that and the Quest for Glory 4 one. But I'm going to include it in this episode. Of course, it's the general MIDI version of Robert Holmes's St. George's Bookstore music from Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. Next piece of music is a little bit obscure. It comes from the Russian game Z.A.R, Z.A.R, Zone of Artificial Resources, which is like a voxel-based first-person shooter. It has a CD audio soundtrack, which is a bit on a cheap side. You know, it's made by a bunch of Russians for probably not a lot of money. So it's okay, it's cool, but I really do like that one track, track number 7. This is not the kind of music you usually hear in a first-person shooter. 4 composers are credited with the Z.A.R soundtrack: Ilya Tchervonuk, Sergei Potapov, Dmitry Laptev, and Ivan Sokolovsky. So here it is, music from Z.A.R. And of course, we already got to another Sierra title, another MT32 tune as well. This comes from the game The Colonel's Bequest, the first Laura Bow adventure, and it's the intro tune that I really, really like. It's sort of really fitting, setting up the atmosphere. It's composed by, Sierra veteran Ken Allen, and I think MT32 is used really well to sort of depict this atmosphere. The game takes place in 1925, and in the intro, Laura meets her friend, the Flapper, and I think it sets up the story very nicely. So here it is, the intro to The Colonel's Bequest by Ken Allen. Alright, so next tune is also a little bit obscure. It comes from a DOS port of the game Hero Quest, not Hero's Quest, not the Sierra First Quest for Glory game, but the adaptation of the board game. And the composer is not credited. The game says sound effects and music by Imagitec. And the game really just has those just a medley of tunes. It's essentially just 3 tunes, 2 long ones and 1 really short one, and sort of morph into each other. So I've just decided to include the whole thing. The whole thing is good. That first tune plays during the intro, and then again that same tune and 2 others play inside the game as the background music, and they just loop. So here it is, pretty much the entirety of the music from Hero Quest. And since the last time I forced you to listen to Take a Stand from Phantasmagoria, I've decided to finish this episode with another song with vocals. But don't worry, I won't force you to listen to Girl in the Tower. No, I would never. So instead, I decided to settle for something a bit more obscure. Now, if some of you might be familiar with the game Inca, developed by the French company Cocktail Vision, and I know that some people, majority of people I would say, probably played the floppy version, and that version has a music composed by sort of Cocktail Vision's resident master of AdLib, Charles Calais. But what he actually did is he rearranged the actual sort of orchestral, professionally recorded tunes that were, and a song apparently, that was actually composed by the gentleman named Gilles Duyeb. So here I present to you the music from essentially the intro of the game. It's two different tracks. It's an intro track called Titicaca, and then the song that plays during the intro is called Inca People. And so I just decided to put them both together. It's essentially the intro to Inca, but I'm gonna say goodbye to you before I play the song. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with Das Nostalgia. This is the new year 2017. I hope it's gonna be better than the last one. Thank you to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon. It helped me enormously, and if anyone wants to be the guest on this podcast, please contact me on Twitter and just let me know what you would like to talk about. And here it is, Inca People by Gilles Duyeb.
Fly towards eternity into the space sky riders, peace soldiers. A land of plenty is what we're looking for. Prosperity and harmony is what we need for sure. We are the Incas, kings and knights. We're lost, where we go we don't know. We keep on flying into the night. Inca people looking for a place to go. We are the Incas, kings and knights. We're lost, where we go we don't know. We keep on flying into the night. Inca people looking for a place to go. We are the Incas, kings and knights.